set, where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying? Cecil.
This is why I train in martial arts.
I want to read a comment from one of my viewers that was left on my channel. And let me say right off, I'm not going to use the name. Not that I need to withhold it because this person put their user ID on it, so it's public knowledge. But I don't want anybody to think I'm picking on them. And second of all, I'm here to tell you now that no matter how much martial arts you study, this fear that the viewer expresses in this post is something that we just have to live with. Now, that being said, taking a martial arts class and doing well at martial arts and going to tournaments and competing is something that can really help you handle what I'm about to talk about now. So, one of our viewers wrote, I'm an orange belter, and I'm only doing karate due to the fact that my parents want me to do it and for self-defense. I'm not a fan of this type of sports for some reason. The reason is I'm scared of humiliating myself or embarrassing myself in tournaments. And if I make a mistake, everyone may think I'm weak, dumb, and etc. That's what scares me. Now, let me tell you something. This is one thing that I don't like about our society, especially among those of us who are supposed to be smart or intelligent. I really see this a lot, like in the tech field, and that is this thing of people being afraid to make a mistake, admit they made a mistake, or afraid of looking dumb, afraid of looking like they don't know something. There is nobody, and I mean nobody on this earth that knows everything. And that's one good lesson you can learn from the martial art. Because I used to think it was just a trite expression of, oh, there's always someone that knows more. Or there's always someone you don't know. There's someone always that you're going to run into that's just as good as you or better at something in the martial arts. So you never think that you know everything and never think that you're unbeatable because there's always somebody who can match you. There's always someone who knows something. And I thought, yeah, that's just something they tell us to keep us going. But it's really true, though. The more I learn, the more I realize I don't learn. And then by the time I learn something, then the body changes. Or I think I've got a handle on something, and then another style comes up, another approach comes up. A lot of what people call traditional martial arts, a lot of people are losing their appreciation for it. They don't see the value of it. They think it's something that's for kids only. When really, to be honest, I think adults need traditional martial arts more than kids do. I think kids need sport martial arts more than adults do. Self-defense is an aspect that I've seen quite a few clubs get away from it. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. I mean, you only got a limited amount of time that you have with your students. If you could just focus on the sport aspect and you can make money and everybody's having fun, I don't fault you for that. Not at all. When you try to take a broader approach or you try to make it more of a life lesson thing, that could be kind of old, dull, and boring, I'm sure, and people don't want to hear that. They want you to make them feel good with their fantasy of walking around and being some kind of modern-day ninja or some super kick-butt person just because you can sweat and move around in pajamas in public. You know, you even got people these days that think that they know MMA because they watch MMA. They think that being an MMA fan makes them as tough as the fighters who are in the ring. Never understood that. Guess I never will. But, you know, it takes all types to make the world go around. The reason is I'm scared of humiliating myself or embarrassing myself in tournaments. Man, I'm telling you now, I've been at this stuff a long time, and just working in the world, you're going to humiliate yourself. You're going to embarrass yourself. The good thing about tournaments is you learn how to handle those emotions under a really intense pressure situation. It's not as long as you're going to have to do it for 8 hours a day once you get into your career. 8 hours, 12 hours sometimes I put in. But learning how to handle that stress, learning how to breathe under stress, learning how to think fast, you know, just learning how to handle pressure and get your body moving. Hopefully that can translate over into getting your mind moving. Hopefully that can translate over into keeping your spirit still when you're in the midst of conflict and competition. Because a lot of people in this world like to make everything a competition. So if you become comfortable in a competition at something that you like a martial art, hopefully you can become comfortable competing in things that you don't like. And I understand that aversion to competition because believe me, I don't like competing either. I'm not a competitive person. The only person I like to compete against is myself. I personally never saw the reward of I did something better than you, so therefore I get to do my victory dance over you. Honestly, the only time I feel that way now is if it's just somebody I probably just don't like them anyway and they annoy me and I just enjoy putting them in their place. That's really it. In terms of physical movement or whatever, that's never really been my thing. And you know what? That's fine. But for the people who are, more power to you. So, viewer, if you're watching this, feel free to shout yourself out. But let me tell you, don't be afraid of competition, even if you don't like competition. It's good for you. Do it. This is what I did. I did competitions until I felt like it wasn't a big deal anymore. When I didn't feel like I was really learning anything doing it, and when I felt like it was more trouble than it was worth, that's when I stopped doing them. Because when you do your first few competitions, you'll get more out of competing in those 4 to 8 hours than you might in 4 to 8 weeks of your class, just in terms of learning how to handle your nerves under pressure. But after a while, when it becomes old hat, then you got to start thinking, is this really feasible? If I'm going to be a professional, competitor at this thing, that's one thing. Then compete. But if you know you're not going to go pro, you're not even going to go semi-pro, that's when you may want to start thinking, is this something I really want to do or not? But, if you can stand up in front of strangers and do a form, then when you grow up, you should be able to stand up in front of strangers and deliver a presentation. If you can go out there in front of strangers and, punch a kick around to somebody and, get somebody in some kind of joint lock and do some type of submission under that kind of pressure with people yelling at you and making sure you're following rules, you ought to be able to, punch and kick your way past those deadlines, metaphorically speaking, and grapple with whatever assignments you have at the job and persevere through on and build your business if that's the path you end up taking. And, sadly, you may have to restrain a loved one or two if they're on something. But that's a video for another day. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people that talk about the martial arts. Oh, not to mention the fact that sometimes, grown people do get attacked. And peace. And thank you for your time.